Hello, and welcome to the Computing Conversations column. This column is from the March 2012 issue of IEEE Computer and is titled Monash Museum of Computing History. There is supporting video material for this column that you can find in the IEEE Computer Society YouTube channel or in the IEEE Digital Library. I'm the editor of the column, and I'm Charles Severance from the University of Michigan. I love going to graduation ceremonies, and am always quick to volunteer when the university needs faculty representatives to fill one role or another. I love the energy of the graduates and their families celebrating these successful educational efforts. I also like meeting a random cross-section of faculty from all over campus, while we wait in the back room, eat snacks, get dressed, and put on our robes and funny hats. At one of these pre-graduation receptions, I sat next to someone from the history department, and figured that to get the conversation started, I would tell him about my own fascination with the history of computing. I explained that computing and technology create ancient history at an unprecedented pace. After 20 years in the field, even the most modern technology looks like a quaint disposable antique from a bygone era. I asked him if anyone in his field recognized that we're losing these artifacts, and was interested in studying this very recent ancient history. He thought my idea of 30-year-old artifacts being ancient history was a pretty silly notion, and turned to talk to someone more interesting. If historians are not interested in history until artifacts are hundreds or thousands of years old, then we in computer science must work together and be our own historians. We must explicitly keep track of important artifacts and record the stories and lessons that surround them. This doesn't mean that we should all fill our garages with outmoded devices until they become historically significant. If each of us kept our own computer museums, we would all soon be in trouble with our friends and families. It is therefore indeed fortunate when a computing department invests space, time, and money into retaining and cataloging these artifacts. Not only are computer scientists often in possession of them as they pass into obsolescence, they have a good sense of where each artifact fits in the historical context. The Monash Museum of Computing History was founded in 2000 on the Caulfield campus of the Monash University near Melbourne, Australia. The museum received a small grant to build public displays and supporting materials. The facilities consist of several public displays on the first floor of the computing building, as well as storage space for artifacts not on display and limited support for artifact curation and cataloging. Judy Sherd, director of the museum and a university faculty member, describes the community's involvement with the museum.
But we do have school children coming on visits, and then we have about an hour tour and we take them through the museum, starting with the calculating machines, and we talk about what did people do before computers, and I've got things like this. What is a computer? Where did we get the name of computing from? And I've got this picture of women using slide rules in 1948, I think it was. This is in America, doing their calculations, and the idea that the first computers were people, okay, and often they were women, so that's kind of an interesting bit of social history there.
One of the advantages of hosting a computing museum at a university is the ability to integrate university artifacts into teaching. According to Chris Avram, another faculty member at Monash University,
even before we had the museum, we were lucky. We had here CIRAC. I've mentioned CIRAC too. The world's number 4 digital stored program computer. It's left over, used till about 65, so about 72 or so it arrived on campus just for storage purposes. But we put it in a display area. When I first arrived with my teaching here in about 88, I arrived to teach, I would always take my introduction to computer architecture. Students passed it. It had so much to tell students about the origin of operating systems, the primary function of operating systems, to allocate resources and the efficiency of use of resources.
The museum is a combination of the overall history of computing, placed in the context of history of computing in Australia broadly, as well as the particular contributions of the faculty and students at Monash University. It's clearly a labor of love. Like any museum, it faces a persistent lack of funds and low staffing levels, but those involved remaining committed to maintaining the collection. According to Judy Sherd,
history is so quickly forgotten, and there's a danger that we just we forget about these things, and if we don't have them around for people to see, they forget about the history of the technology that they're using. And I think that's a real danger.
I hope that other schools will follow the Monash Museum of Computing History's lead and integrate historical displays into their public spaces, hallways, and curriculum. Having a sense of history close at hand makes for more well-rounded students, and when enough time passes to capture their interest, the real historians will be able to excavate at the sites of the long-buried computer science buildings to find the artifacts that we've left behind. Or perhaps, 2,000 years from now, all of YouTube's archives will be on the average wristwatch, and everyone can just watch the video interview associated with this article. This column is from the March 2012 issue of IEEE Computer and is titled Monash Museum of Computing History. There is supporting video material for this column that you can find in the IEEE Computer Society YouTube channel or in the IEEE Digital Library. I'm the editor of the column, and I'm Charles Severance from the University of Michigan.